how I overcame Hashimoto's, an autoimmune condition, and learned how to get my life back and live my life to the fullest. And then how do ketones play a role in that? So for me, I believe I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's around 25, 26, but I believe I had it probably 16, 17. It took that long to kind of figure out. And there was a steady decline for me until one day I just realized something was wrong. Things were really bad. And so a little bit about my backstory. First off, I've been in the health and wellness space for over 2 decades, and I'm passionate about health and wellness. So it was really challenging for me being passionate about health and wellness and not healthy, getting sicker and sicker by the day. And so for me, I was a former recon Marine, a college athlete. I've been athletic and in sports my entire life. And one day I woke up and things were horrible. But if you think back on it, it was a steady decline. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And then, of course, when you get to that state, you start pointing your fingers at everything else going on. And I just need to get me back. I need to get my health and vitality back. And so as a young kid, I always had a lot of energy. I was always playing hard, having fun. Very optimistic person. I always seemed like the world was going great, even though sometimes it was hard and things weren't. And so after I left the Marine Corps, I went and chased my passion of playing college football. And about 2 years into my college football career, I was told by 3 doctors that if I don't change what I'm doing, I may not be able to walk by the time I'm 30. And I was like, why? Like, my knees were just shot. At 23, 24 years old, I needed a knee replacement. And so they did an experimental surgery. And then why that matters is that was an indicator something was wrong. I had significantly regressed at my age. It didn't make sense medically that I had these problems. I was freezing all the time. I lived in Minnesota at the time, and I was cold. And I looked at my buddy, he's my roommate, and we were I was a personal trainer up in Savage, Minnesota at Lifetime Fitness when it was really new back then. And I go, I can't do this anymore. I got to leave. I got to move. He goes, why? I go, my bones hurt. It's so cold here. I can't understand. And so I fly out to San Diego. I moved me. I was just me out in San Diego, and I was still cold. I was freezing. The truth is San Diego is one of the coldest places I ever lived, because what happens during the day with Hashimoto's is like your core body temperature. If you don't know what Hashimoto's is, your core body temperature slows down. Your thyroid basically is sluggish. Your thyroid is being attacked by your own immune system. So it's not really a thyroid problem. It's an immune problem that's attacking your thyroid. So RA is like your immune problem attacking your joint, the cartilage in your joints. So different autoimmune conditions is an immune problem that's attacking some portion of you. So it becomes a thyroid problem, but it's not just a thyroid problem. And this is the mistake that I got caught up into. And I'm going to talk about how I got to where I am today, where I got energy, vitality, and really, technically I still have Hashimoto's, but I really don't have it. Like symptomatically, I don't have any problems around it. I don't even look at it as a medical problem anymore, although I'm not ignorant and I don't do dumb things that would trigger it to be a bad thing. So I'm in San Diego, freezing my butt off, cold all the time. In the nighttime, San Diego gets really cold comparative to the day. It feels like it drops 60 degrees and you're just freezing. I couldn't get warm. And the truth is I still didn't know I knew something was wrong. I didn't know how bad. And there's 2 things that happened to me that I knew I needed to get help. Actually, there was 3 things. The first one was I was surfing. I'm not a good surfer. And so my buddy's a big surfer. Matt's out there. We're surfing. And I'm like, I suck, right? I'm not that good. I'm working hard trying to surf. So I'm actually moving a lot, but I'm not catching many waves. So it's like I'm working hard. And the water's cold in San Diego. It's actually pretty cold water. And so he looks at me and he goes, we need to go. And I'm like, why? He goes, no, we need to go now. And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking something's wrong with him. We get inside and he goes, you're blue. Like you're literally blue. I go, I kind of was chilly. And then I took off I had a wetsuit on, by the way, take off my wetsuit and I couldn't get warm. I got in the hot tub at my condo and I sat in there for 40, 45 minutes just to warm up. And I'm like, wow, I knew I'd been having problems, but something else was going on here. So that was incident 1. Incident number 2, I played college football. I walked on, and that's a pretty big deal because where I played, walk-ons just didn't ever make it. They never just didn't allow them, and they let me play. That was pretty cool. I didn't get to play long. I got to play for 2 years before my leg was done, and I was off. But my buddy that also walked on with me, unfortunately, he did not make the team, but we were really close competitively. We were both very athletic. Skill level, we're pretty much good at things, and we play hard. But we were playing basketball. He and I were just playing a one-on-one kind of just mess around basketball. And it was like I wasn't even there. It was like I was a little kid playing against Michael Jordan. Like he was so much better than I was. And it's not like he was after college playing basketball all the time. He's like, I just work out and I do my thing. I had regressed that far. And I'm like, wow. I go, something's not right. The last thing happened is that I was in a car with some friends and I almost got T-boned by a semi. And they freaked out. I was like as cool as a cucumber, just super calm and relaxed, like nothing happened. And they're like, what's wrong with you? Like you didn't even get like freaked. And I'm like, well, it's just my military experience kept me all calm and relaxed. No, my system was so suppressed. And so I go on this journey to try to figure out what's wrong with me. And it took me 2 years to get diagnosed because as a young athlete, I was very fit. I was gaining weight, but not bad. You know, I still had energy compared to the average person, but not like me. So it's like something's wrong, but in the world, I'm doing pretty good, right? I have a good job. I'm making good income. I own my own place. Like in San Diego, I'm doing pretty good, but yet something's wrong. And so I'm going to traditional doctors, traditional medicine. I hired a functional alternative doctor, and we're doing all these tests, and nobody's really landing on it. But the functional nutritionist and the health specialist and all those people are literally throwing supplement after me. The traditional doctor's like, I don't see really anything wrong. Your cholesterol's a little bit high, but it seems like it's been like that since you've been 16. So not thinking that's probably it. So I don't know. Like they're just like, I don't know what to do. So anyway, I finally just begged him to run a autoimmune challenge on me. Like, hey, let's see if there's an autoimmune condition. The doctor reluctantly did. And it came back positive that I have Hashimoto's. Because we could see my thyroid wasn't like crazy bad. And then once we tested it enough times, we saw the contrast where it would go hypo, hyper. And if I hit it on the right time, it would be normal. But we never caught it out of the window when we measured the thyroid. So it was like we didn't know to look further there. And that was traditional. So then we went to heavy metals and I got all the amalgams removed out of my mouth. The natural way, I got worse. I got sicker. I tried these fasts and cleanse. I got sicker and sicker and sicker. And I'm just fed up. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? It's like I've spent now tens of thousands of dollars out of my own money to try to figure out what's wrong. And I'm more confused than ever before. And so what I realized is that everybody's doing things to me. And this was my epiphany. And I felt like crap. Just to kind of paint a picture of how my days went, I had to get up early. I had a dog, and it was just me and my dog. I was miserable. Like literally, I would sit in the dark. I mean, I was super down on myself, super depressed. I had no energy. And remember that word energy. This is going to be a key to everything I'm going to suggest to what made this successful, is energy is the key. And so I would get up and I would go to work. I would let my dog out, go to work, come back, and I would usually come back midday, like around 10:30, 11. My clients I was a personal trainer at the time, they'd take a break, and then I'd have kind of middle of the day off. I was so tired, I would try to come back and take a nap, but I couldn't really get comfortable to take a nap. My joints felt like there was sand in them. I felt like I had sand in my elbows, in my knees. My body's been beat up, right? My knee needed to be replaced, but I'd been doing pretty good. I've been rehabbing it. It's like, it's not really bothering me much, but it felt like there was sand in my joints. And like, how do you explain that to a doctor, especially 25 years ago? There's sand in my joints. What do you mean by that? But then my appetite was just all over the place, and I would just get puffy. Like, it's like I was on my period. I would just get puffy. My body would react certain things. I would eat certain foods, and I feel like I was 6 months pregnant. I would be bloated and gassy and like extended in the belly. So then I'm like, I must be gluten intolerant. I must be celiac. And then I started cutting those foods out because the naturopathic doctor suggested it. And he goes, she's like, gluten's your problem. Well, no, gluten isn't. Just tell you right now, gluten is not the problem. But I believe that it was the root of all my problems. And my vaccinations from my military career, that was all my problems. And I believed that for a while. And I have a different viewpoint of all these things now. I can't wait to share that with you too. But what I realized, I couldn't walk. I was having a hard time just walking around the block. I had no energy. I could rally for a couple hours. I would get up in the morning. I would do the best I could for my clients. I would rally and I would rally. My breath stank. I mean, it was like I'd brush my teeth 3 or 4 times. I'd always have to have gum in my mouth. My breath stank because my teeth weren't doing well. And like, it must be my teeth and my amalgams causing it. It must be heavy metals. And I have a metal issue and a lead issue. Like I went to the gamut of everything, right? Got to be dairy. It's got to be soy. It's got to be this and all these things. I don't methylate very well. Yeah, the motherfucker gene, the TFR gene. Yeah, I've known about that for 25 years. And guess what? That wasn't the problem either. And so I'm like, okay, what do I got to do here? So I fired everybody. Now this is a few years of this. No energy. I would have to walk so at my condo, there's a kind of a hill. So I was on the top of it. So I would walk out to the top of the hill and there was a set of steps. I would throw the ball down the steps and that's how my dog ran. So I would have my dog run by me sitting on top of the steps, throwing the ball so she could run up and down the steps or the hill that was next to us. And that's how I get her to run. And then I would just walk back, 150 yards, 200 yards back to the house. And I'd make it, that's how far I could walk without just being exhausted. And then I would go back to work and I would rally for a couple hours. I would come home at night. I would be just sitting in the dark and just depressed, just miserable. And this is like day in, day out, right? And then if my friends wanted to go out, I could rally for a couple hours and put the fake face on and get through the day. But the whole time, my body is not doing well. I'm in the fitness industry. I looked better than most, but not like me. I didn't look buff and strong like I do now. I just look kind of frumpy and something's wrong. So after a few years of this, I get diagnosed. And then as I'm diagnosed, I really ramp up because the traditional doctors wanted to put me on medicine. I'm like, well, it took you 3 years to figure out what's wrong with me. And you just want to treat me like everybody else. But I obviously wasn't like everybody else, or you would have diagnosed me way earlier. So I go, give me a few months. And I work with my doctors and how they encourage us. I said, hey, listen, give me 6 months to see if I can get it under control with maybe just doing it naturally. He's like, okay. So he stayed with me. We worked together on this. And so lo and behold, 6 months later, I was able to bring things a little bit back to normal. But I was taking so much stuff and my diet was so rigid and strict. If I messed up a little bit, it would fall completely apart. So finally, when I fell apart, it fell apart. Like it was like 10 times worse than when I was in my worst day when I was just feeling bad all the time. So I would feel better and then worse would be 10x. And like, that's not going to work. So I decided to fire everybody except my traditional doctor. I fired all the naturopathic, all the alternative doctors. Now they have learned a lot. A lot of there's one of the cutting edge naturopathic doctors actually learned a lot from me because he was actually one of the ones treating me back before he knows what he knows today. We know a lot more now than we did back then about all this and how to maybe handle it better. But I did every mistake. I had every mistake. And through those mistakes, we got a lot of successes. Okay. So what I did is I fired them all and I said, listen, I'm talking to myself now. I said, Dustin, listen, why don't we go back to the foundations, right? If food's a part of it, let's address that. Is hydration a part of it? Let's address that. Is sleep a part of it? Let's address that. Let's go back to the foundations of life and health. And what I did, and this is how it ultimately led to drinking ketones, is I went without food for 5 days. I ended up going 14, but my goal was 5. So I did 5 days. 5 days in, I felt amazing. I literally, true story, my friend was removing a patio, like my concrete, the backyard. They were removing it in the backyard to change their backyard up. And they were jackhammering it down. They had a big bin in the front, like a huge garbage truck. And we were just dumping it in there. And so I outworked everybody. Like I did when in my prime, I crushed everybody and I hadn't eaten. I just drinking water with salt in it. That's all I was doing. And I was drinking salt water. And so I'm crushing it. They're like, what's wrong with you, man? You're like on fire today. You feel good. Like you're smiling. You're full of color. You feel great. I'm like, I know I haven't eaten in 5 days. They're what? This doesn't make any sense. They're eating pizza, drinking beer, taking a break. And I just kept working, wheelbarrowing big chunks of concrete. 8 hours of just grinding out. I felt great. So I decided to go 14 full days. By the 14th day, I was starting to kind of dip the wrong way a little bit. And there's reasons why that's the case. But anyway, I was like, okay, there's something to this. So for an entire year, I got rid of all my doctors, except my traditional doctor, because I wanted him to manage my blood levels, my numbers, and make sure that I'm not doing something stupid and causing more harm to myself. And I was able to keep my thyroid numbers really normal and my antibodies really low. But what I had to figure out is for an entire year, I kind of had to figure out, how do I eat? Because not eating is not an option. So I had to eat. And what I figured out is every time I would have too many carbohydrates, I would go into a tailspin. If I just ate high quality protein, high quality fat, I felt fine. Even if I had too much fruit, I would go into a tailspin. Now, is fruit the enemy? It's not. And this is what I had to learn the long haul, was it wasn't the diet that was making me feel better. It was being in ketosis that was making me feel better. It was elevating my ketone levels. It was helping me suppress and keep my immune system under control, and I felt way better. So that was the secret and the key to my ultimate success. And so I did, and I figured out over a year, because I didn't know what the ketogenic diet, I knew what it was, but I didn't understand how to live that way. Over a year, I was able to learn how to live in the ketogenic state. But then for 15 years, that's what I did. Now, was the stress of my vaccines when I was in the military a factor? Possibly. I've had a lot of things injected to me. Was the stress of my amalgam fillings possibly a factor for me? Possibly. Was the stress of gluten and wheat? I've been pretty much gluten-free for the majority of my adult life because I learned how to live without that. But being keto was easy because you just didn't eat that stuff. Was it a stress? Possibly. My biggest stress that caused most of my problems, I truly believe with very little doubt, was exercise. I was over-exercising without resting, and I actually was causing myself harm to the point where I eventually created an autoimmune condition. Now, add in all the other stresses, there were other variables and factors. And when I eliminated some of those other stressors, I got worse at first and then I get better. So I'm always cautious of blaming all these other things because most of the time it's something that you're doing to yourself. But at the same time, some of those other factors are the straw that breaks the camel's back. And just don't blame that one thing because you're closing your mind up to all the variables and then the lack of control you have. And what I realized, I had a lot of power and control. And by getting into a state of ketosis, it gave me my life back. Like truly gave me, I was optimistic and helpful and happy for the first time in many, 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 many years. And I had to figure out how I'm going to live my life this way. So then 15 years after doing this diet, I get introduced to drinkable ketones right here. So now for the first time in my life, and I want to go back to something, the key to ketosis that made me feel the best. Yes, my immune system was under control, all that. I was kind of figuring that out a little bit without being in ketosis. The key was energy. It gave me sustained energy all day long. And when you have good energy all day long, you can take control. You can make that decision. When you feel like crap and you're tired, you're going to make a bad decision. You're going to more likely make the shitty decision. So when you have good energy all day long, you can make good decisions at night. You can make good relationship decisions. You can make family decisions, nutrition decisions, health decisions. It's the secret and key to the whole thing. And then there's a lot of ancillary benefits of being in ketosis that help me do more than that. So when I got drinkable ketones, for 2 years, I followed a ketogenic diet with ketones because that's the life I just learned to live. And I finally figured out, can I modify my diet into more of a traditional diet? And I would say I'm more on an anti-inflammatory paleo diet now. So I eat fruit, I eat watermelon, I eat rice from time to time, even though that for some people could say that's not good. I get to find my balance. And I use drinkable ketones to maintain my ketone levels. And guess what? I feel stronger. I feel healthier. I feel better than ever. And I actually get to just enjoy some of the finer things in life. I go to Italy and have a little pizza and not feel like the gluten's going to crush me forever and I'm going to die and I'm never going to live again. Guess what? I feel great, have no relapses, don't feel bad at all, and live my life. Now, I've also got myself so healthy and so strong. If you're dealing with an autoimmune condition right now, the one thing that you want to do is you want to be stronger than whatever the things that are causing you problems, right? I'm not saying you should go lick on lead. I'm not saying you should go eat a lead bar or you should just get vaccinated to see if you're tolerant to it all. What I'm trying to say is a piece of bread shouldn't crush you unless you're truly celiac. If it is, you're not strong enough and you need to get your body stronger. You need to get your mind stronger. You don't need to fear all these things. You got to get strong enough so you can tolerate some of these stressors if they are one. And then you can still enjoy your life and enjoy your day. And that takes emotion, strength, psychological strength, mental strength, physiological strength. And being in ketosis has been the secret and the key for me forever. Now I get to drink ketones, have energy all day long, focus, sustained energy, and feel great. And guess what? I get to find a flex diet that I like. I still go deep into ketosis nutritionally from time to time, at least once a month, few days. I like to go deep into it. I'll come back out of it. I like to intermittent fast. I do some long fasts, some short fasts. I don't fast for a while. I found a really good way to live and enjoy my life. but elevating my ketone levels consistently day in, day out is the key to my success. And I'm telling you, I'm stronger than I was when at 25. I feel better at 25. I have 4 kids now. I've had 4 major surgeries. I got 3 more coming. They're surgeries that were going to happen no matter what. People always send me like lights and lasers, and I've tried a lot of alternative stuff. Some things just need to be fixed. So that's what I'm doing. And I feel great after these surgeries. So thank you all my medical doctors for that. At the same time, I want to appreciate all the naturopathic, functional, holistic doctors. They've taught me other components that have helped me balance out my life in different ways. But it ultimately came down to me taking control of my life, making my decisions, and using their wisdom to guide me. So you can do this. If you have an autoimmune condition, take control, but listen to the experts, listen to those other people. They're going to give you wisdom. Don't ignore it. Don't throw it away. But it's ultimately about you coming stronger and becoming the best version of you and taking control of your life. And don't do anything drastic, but know that you should be strong enough to handle it and strong enough to deal with it. If you get laid over at an airport, it's not going to kill you. I promise you. You'll be just fine. So enjoy. Cheers.